But I figured maybe you guys want to hear this. I don't even know if the battery's charged, so let's find out. So as you hear it, it almost sounds like a diesel. That's how bad it is. God, I don't want to keep it running. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Broke Premiere, guys. So in the last episode, I kind of wrapped up right after I did the headliner, but I ended up working on to the middle of the night, about midnight, and I just wanted to show you guys, I just spray painted up this corner because it was kind of painted with like a silvery white. But right now I'm just going to touch up like this spot. I'm going to touch up this spot up here. So, I mean, I'm sure you can see like all the fading. I sanded it down a bit. This was completely bare. And I'm going to just basically clean up this whole spot as well. This paint as well is kind of, I don't know if you can see it, but this is way more white and it's like painted on with like a brush. So I'm going to sand this down soft a little bit, probably throw a little coat over top of this. And then after I'm done with all the painting, I went and I got bushings because, I don't know if you can see it from here. Let's see. This bushing is completely shot. You see how it's like split there? It's causing like a rattle back here and over there. It's almost creating a little shake, a little hum in the wheels as I drive at like 80. So I think if I replace these on both sides, I should be able to get the majority of the shake cleaned up. At least that's the goal. I'm gonna try to bang that out and then I'm gonna change the oil. All right, guys, let's do it. Welcome back, guys. It's the next day here. So last night I was able to finish up the bushings here. In fact, I'll show you the old ones. So they're pretty shot. I mean, look at these things. Look at this. All four of them were like that. So it was a pretty rough ride. So I'm imagining I cleaned it up a bit. Now, what I'm gonna do right now, because the sun's not quite up, as you can see, it's like half on the car, half not. I'm gonna go through and do a light wet sand on these with 1500 grit, especially this spot over here as well. The top came out really good. I mean, this is like, if you guys can see this up close, it looks phenomenal how nice the top came out. And you can still see the layers here, but I'm not really worried about that. Yeah, it's more just about covering up what was bare. So I'm gonna go through with the 1500, hit some of the spots that I hit earlier. I'm gonna buff it with some rubbing compound on some of the harder spots. And then I'm just gonna do some finishing compound on the other spots. And that's it. So let's get started. All right, guys, so I finished up the van. I buttoned up every little detail. I went and I took some nice pictures of it. I listed it, and I'm telling you, San Diego is the hot spot for vans. Within 2 or 3 hours of listing, I had already had a first person who wanted to come and buy it immediately. It was so fast that it kind of scared me, to be honest. So they came, bought the car, and I'll give you guys the whole story later on, but first, I wanted to kind of fill you back in with the Kia Optima. I never really told you guys how much I made. I bought that car for $500, and it needed the rod bearings, which you guys saw, which was like a $30 part. I had to buy some tools here and there that I didn't quite have at the moment. So that put me back some money, but I'm not going to count that as cost against me because I'm going to have those tools forever. But I did do an oil change before you guys ever saw any videos because I thought maybe an oil change would help alleviate. I thought it was originally valve tick, not rod knock. So I thought maybe changing the oil would help me to alleviate that, and then it was very clear that it was rod knock after that. So basically 2 oil changes, probably about $75, $30 for the rod bearing. And then I got some parts from the junkyard that you guys didn't even see. The grill was actually replaced. So I bought that grill. It was actually a little like grayish and gross. The last one was broken in half. So I actually bought that grill, taped it off, spray painted it satin black, so it made the front grill look nice. And then, so I think I got that for $25 from the junkyard. I bought the stereo for like, I think it ended up being like $45 for the stereo. So what am I in? 45 plus 25, 70, plus the 100, 670. Trying to think if I did anything else. I think a lot of it was just man hours, a lot of time. So let's say 750 to round it off. The car ended up selling for $1,500. I learned a big mistake. I let the car sit for 2 years with back fees of totaling almost $600 as it was, which is immediate like no in San Diego or just California. No one wants to deal with that headache. The other thing I learned was to sell immediately. I immediately listed the car for $5,500 because that's about what they were going for when this gold rush of cars was selling. I think I would have got 48, 45 quick off the bat. In fact, the night I listed it, I had 2 people interested within like 4 or 5 hours. Not even, maybe 3 or 4 hours. And I got cocky, I got a little arrogant, and I decided to go to LA for the weekend, hang out with my in-laws, and I had a great time. When I came back, like the whole entire market it crashed, it rock bottomed. No one was buying, there was barely any cars on the road. It was a really weird, like 2 weeks. In fact, my buddy, Michael Wagner over at Budget Builds said he hit the same issue selling his Jetta. So something happened, I don't know. But in the end, let's say I had about $750 into it, and I sold it for $1,500. So it was only $750. At that time, I needed to get rid of it. I had no more money left. I had to sell it so I could keep moving along. So I did. I got rid of that one. And then as soon as I got rid of that, I went and I picked up the van. And then I picked up this, which I never showed you guys. So this is my Audi A4 Cabriolet. It's a 2006 and it has 169,000 miles. Now it's a little fugly, it's got some little things, but overall for an 06 with 170,000 miles, it's pretty dang clean. I mean, the rims are sharp as hell. It's got this one little ding here, which honestly I'm gonna buff out the edge. I don't even think you'll notice that ding. The paint does look a little weathered, but I really can't tell. Yeah, we might get away with buffing it out. But the rims are sharp. I love that the rims are in such good condition. The only other thing is the interior is fugly. So as you can see, it's got like the typical Volkswagen issues. The switches are all ugly. The center console's busted, all the typical crud of a Volkswagen or an Audi. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? I got this thing for $600, but the bad news is it runs like crap. There's like no oil pressure to this thing. I honestly haven't even tried to mess with this yet. I just tried to get the van because I knew it'd be a quick flip. But I figured maybe you guys want to hear this. I don't even know if the battery's charged, so let's find out. So as you hear it, it almost sounds like a diesel. That's how bad it is. God, I don't want to keep it running. All right. So basically, it has low oil pressure. That's how I bought it. But we're going to get into this more in another video, guys. I think, yeah, I think it's going to wrap it up for this series, for the whole van series. And I will probably give you guys a price breakdown maybe in the next video. We'll see. Trying to see how to keep you guys coming back. How do I pull you in? Pull you in. Just kidding. All right, guys. So I think that's actually going to wrap this up. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And yeah, see you next time.